Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. When I changed my handwriting, I changed my life. What I'm going to talk to you about today is a thing called graphology. Is anybody familiar with the term? Other than the people who were at my last speech? Graphology is handwriting analysis. It is not something in the clouds. It is a true science. They use it in court. You've heard about them saying, well, yes, she did sign that check that bounced. That is her signature. So it is a true science, and it is an amazing what it can tell you about your life and yourself. And if you know what makes you tick, you can change your life accordingly because you'll understand yourself. Without it, you're doing a long search. And today we have the internet, so searches are a lot easier than they used to be. And it works in this arena as well. A few weeks ago, somebody suggested to me that I reintroduce graphology to my friends. I've been doing it for 30 years. In particular, I check myself at least every year to see how I've changed. And that's true. You do change. My first real try at this was many years ago when I lived in Fort Myers. And I saw the signature of Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison would sign his name like this, like a big umbrella over the top of it. And I thought, I'm going to do that because with my name being a T at the beginning as well, I used to use a capital I kind of thing, you know. And I said, I didn't really like that. When I found that, I began to sign my names like that. Well, how does that affect your life? Well, 3 years later, I had 3 inventions. Think about that for a minute. I put myself into the mode of his thinking. Now, I'm reading all of his books. I've read at least a dozen books on Edison. I spent time in his museum there and actually got to go into the glass cases with rubber gloves and read his notebooks. Because a gal that used to work for me became the administrator of that facility. She knew my interest. She said, come on over. I close at 4:30. I have an hour to get it all done. You can spend some hours looking through Mr. Edison's notes. Now, Thomas Edison, if you look up anything on him, you'll see his writing is extremely clear. He writes very slowly and meticulously. So he's very easy to read. Usually people of that brilliant, you can't. But he did it on purpose. He had a style to that. So I adapted that kind of writing. Does anybody here have writing that's hard to read? They're terrible writers like me? Okay, you can hold your hand all the way up because I got good news for you. Okay. The reason that you write fast is your mind is going faster than your hand. Now, think about this. If there's anybody you come across in your life that it's hard to read their writing on a consistent basis, what profession is that? Doctors. So what does it tell you? You're brilliant, right? And that's it because their hand is also moving slower than their brain. So I mainly searched out graphology because of that reason. My handwriting was so bad. To this day, I mostly print, but I do write in the, like my signature, of course, is a script. But in knowing that gave me a lot of relief because I thought there was something wrong with me in doing that. But when you change your handwriting, you can change your life. That was just the beginning. Today, and I noticed it about 2 years ago, that I went from this to this. There was a little curve came up, and I had a curve here, a curve here. And if you look at that, it looks like an S backwards. Are there any musicians in the room? Mike, okay. What is an S backwards but a treble clef? I'm a musician. And that has been developing over the last 30 years. And that kind of blew my mind, including the professor, the doctor at one of the universities. When I told her about it, she said, oh, that's just too cool. You've got to tell me the whole story. So she wants that story, and she gave me a scholarship for advancement on graphology further, so I can actually go into courtroom when I want to get certified for that. And I'm not for that. I do it more as a recreational thing, but I do know a little bit about it. So what does that mean? What are some of the things that you can tell about that writing? One, if you crossed your T-bars high, and I didn't tell you last week, did I? If you cross your T-bars high enough, that's what millionaires do, because it's about how you feel about yourself. So begin to cross them on a consistent basis higher, you will feel better about yourself. I got an email from a gal I did about 3 months ago. She said, my life is getting so much better, I feel so much better about myself. Does that have anything to do with the T's? Yes, it does. It actually does. I asked last week, does anybody use a Greek E on a consistent basis? Anybody use the Greek, the backwards 3? Okay. He said it last week, and I said, why aren't you writing? He has the trait of a writer. I mean, you know what? He's going to begin writing. He's going to email him. He's going to tell me about it. Okay? What I'd like you to do is write down this site, if you'd like to go there, and it's byyourhand.me. I have 4 different reports I do there. 3 of those reports I will do and half the price stated on the site. All you do is you copy your handwriting, scan it, send it to me. I'll send you back if I can do it or not, and I'm pretty sure I can, but I'd like to make sure. And then if you want to, we'll go ahead and do it for half the price that's there, and they start at $25. Very intensive reports, by the way, the further you go up. So, you got any questions before we close out?
What was that address again?
It's byyourhand.me.
M-E?
Right.
Yeah, this is a question. You mentioned before when you talked about this that you can really begin to change your perspective of your life. I mean, are there any studies about people that actually start to change their writing over years?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's many of them, actually.
Really?
And I'm a prime example of that. I've done many, many things in my life because I kept looking for places that I knew people did a lot of and added it to my handwriting. And it did change. The loop, things like that. Okay. That it? Thank you.
Thank you.